What's up, y'all? Fast Forward Gaming here. This is a little bit of a different video here today. So I watching Ally spoiler mode with Maximilian 7 Rebirth, and I realized it doesn't seem like a lot of what he's saying is accurate, and I kind of was like, a little hard with I have zero audience and it's not a big deal. I don't care. I'm really doing this for me. So whatever. But um to have like interactions and things with different people. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start out with the FF7 remake spoiler mode, and I'm just kind of like do like the typical streamer thing and just pause where I need to at different points where I have things to say, and or I'll just talk over them or whatever. Because a lot of what's being said, and I would say I'm way more versed in FF7 lore than most people, and I'd say 99.99% of people. And this is also for me to kind of review and check myself. If anything, what I'm saying is wrong, I'd love to know. But a lot of stuff that Maximilian Dude is saying is just, well, assumptions or guesses, and he just presents them as facts. Which is, you could say, oh, that's his opinion, but he presents them as facts. So I would say that that's not what's happening. He's saying everything not as a guess, but as a hard, fast fact. And it just kind of, I guess it's like the streamer thing, right? It's like you have to just be overly bombastic and loud. There's not really a lot of people out there that just kind of have a I don't want to say milquetoast take on things, but it's like it always has to be over everything. And is it melodramatic the right word? But basically everything kind of has to be way bigger deal than it actually is. I mean, we're talking about freaking games. Like, no, like it's really not um like making a missile or something, like anything important. So it's like it's kind of yeah, that's probably a bad example, but it's basically not, I guess you could say rocket science is the typical right go to. Um it's not that big of a deal. So whatever, this is all just for fun and whatever. So um I'm not 100% perfect. I'm not saying I am, but I definitely know that I know a lot more than most of the people involved in this community, but I don't know everything. But yeah, we're gonna watch this, and I'm gonna kind of leave my thoughts, and then we're gonna do Rebirth after this. So we might not finish all this in one video because they have kind of long videos. But yeah, here we go.
Fantasy 7 Remake.
I'm Brad Ellis, and I finished Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Hey, I'm Ben Moore, and I finished Final Fantasy VII Remake.
What's up? This is Maximilian Dude, and I finished Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Spoiler mode, final warning, spoiler mode, activated.
I always think that's cute. Like that.
Welcome to a new installment of Spoiler Mode. This is a special spoiler mode for multiple reasons. First off, we have a very special guest joining us this time, Maximilian Dude. How's it going, man?
Hi, guys. It's good to see you again. I'm glad to be here.
Is that what his voice sounds like?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You didn't know that?
That's the real Max.
That's the real Max.
And for everyone watching this is a treat because this is the first spoiler mode since what that we've actually released publicly to everybody, whether or not you're a patron or not. This was just too big to be contained to Patreon, so we had to let this loose on the internet. But Final Fantasy VII Remake, I don't even know where to begin here. Kyle was asking me about like a rundown before all this, and now I'm just like, the gravity of actually playing this game, it still hasn't even sunk in with me that this is real, and I've been playing this. Each time I go back to playing it, I feel like I'm still playing it for the first time despite knowing it. I just cannot believe how impressive this game is.
It was really telling to me, Damiani, when I finished it and sat through that ending and was chewing on that ending for a long time. And then I was like, well, I'll start, cleaning up optional stuff, and was having just as much fun as I was going through the story for the first time. Like, it really spoke to the quality of the combat and really kind of the quality of the things that you can chase after that I wasn't, because sometimes when you like are doing optional stuff in a game, it kind of feels like you're forcing it, where it's like, this is not as good, but I need to keep playing. I wasn't feeling that with 7 Remake. Like I was having just as much fun, which is awesome.
I mean, I definitely agree with that. This is not like a thing that we should probably like say. I think this is obvious, but all of us here played the original Final Fantasy VII first, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't believe you, Max. Definitely don't believe. No, I'm kidding. But
I don't know if I believe him either.
I think that's the one thing is that this is something to set this up. I think properly is that
But in the
this
other
is one of the
direction.
games. I think a lot of like people, everyone in this spoiler mode, I think has been waiting for this for almost what 15 years, 16 years.
Yeah,
Since PS3.
Since PS3, like the PS3.
Same. I've been waiting for it the
for
whole
me,
time.
So here's this real quick,
The
Max.
tease
For me,
on PS4
it was that
freaking
EGM
crazy.
report back in like the mid 2000s before PS3 came out. That said,
Yeah,
the
it
rumor
was
that
right around
Square
Kingdom
Enix,
Hearts.
the newly merged Square Enix, was going to put the PS1 games on PS2, and they explained it as like HD remasters or something. And I was like, yes, this is going to be so great. Like 7, 8, 9, starting with those.
I don't remember that at
Since
all.
I
then.
think it was right after what Capcom did with Resident Evil, right? And that got generally well. It was well reviewed, but didn't sell great. Which was like I think one of the reasons they didn't end up like actually doing it because it was limited to GameCube at the time. Like it's funny is that RE remake,
I'm just gonna
which is
immediately
largely
assume that
considered
he's
to be like one
wrong,
of the
but I don't
greatest
know.
remakes, greatest games ever. Kind of didn't perform super well on GameCube, even though reviewed incredibly. So I think like things like that, because the landscape was so much different, remakes didn't really exist for the most part, had an impact on their choice to eventually scrap it. Like
This
back in the
video
mid
feed is
2000s.
like such bad quality.
Yeah, I wonder if that had any impact or anything like
It's
that.
just his
but
camera.
The thing is, I think the important thing to take away though is that this has just been one of the most anticipated things in video games. Period.
Next to
It's like Half-Life 3 coming out would be like the only thing left, I think, at this point. Now that we've had all these dreams come true, this is like one of the biggest at the top of the checklist to check off.
And something pretty close to a Half-Life 3, like sort of just now.
Oh god, he's one of those.
Right around the,
He's one of those guys where you think that Half-Life 3 is the next Half-Life. You can tell you're not a real fan if you ever say something like that of Half-Life. It pisses me off so much. You would be saying Half-Life 2 Part 3 or Episode 3. Sorry, Half-Life 2 Episode 3. There would be no just jump to Half-Life 3. There's supposed to be a Part 3 to Half-Life 2. That's it. You're just either not a real fan of Half-Life if you ever say something like that, or you're just fucking stupid.
the same time frame. It's all very weird.
Damiani, you bringing up EGM really takes me back because EGM had some like amazing Final Fantasy focused issues, and talking about the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo, it really speaks to how much times have changed because like that tech demo sort of sustained the fan base for years. Like they just kind of subsisted off that hope. Whereas now
those eyes though in that tech demo, Cloud's eyes look freaking nuts. This like wide ass eyes, dude.
I just feel like things happen at a much greater speed. Even I think by and large, the speed at which people are processing the first part of this remake is surprising. Like it's a long game, and it felt like people were done like a day after it came out.
Yeah, very quickly.
So one thing I do want to talk about,
Compared to Rebirth, it's not. But yeah.
if we're talking about, anticipation and, obviously it's kind of like the only game I was looking forward to this entire year. Right. And it may be still, is that I think that the game is great despite our expectations. You know what I mean? I think we had expectations that were impossible to meet. And for myself, at least, like it exceeded them. That's insane. That's really, really crazy.
Why does everyone have headphones on? Can they not hear? They're trying to hear speakers not work? I don't. And then he even has headphones on his hoodie, so obviously doesn't need to hear that well.
This was a game that I've been looking forward to for 5 years, and that it paid off on that.
It came out as good as it did.
Yeah.
I think it exceeded expectations because it didn't only play into expectations, right? It wasn't just content with doing what the fan base wanted. It very much decided to do that a little bit, for sure. Not a little bit, a lot, but it also went and did its own thing, which is why I think it's more enjoyable than it would have been. And I don't think the level of conversation that's happening now would have happened if it had just played it completely straight.
Well, and I think really quick, the level of that anticipation and considering what happened with this game during its development, like Square moving into an entire new engine that they've now made, like this is their third game, so they are figuring that out. Switching developers halfway through completely, the game being announced with the director not even knowing he's directing it, like what? Yeah. It seemed like it was going to be. And I like remember the excitement I had for it leading into 2016, and then you find out, oh, they've only finished the scenario. Oh my God. I'm like, this is not going to be good, is it? This is going to be like the characters that are going to be talking to each other are going to be like Dirge Cerberus style. Like, oh no. And then I forgot about it. And luckily, like all those
What's wrong with Dirge Cerberus?
The final game?
I don't understand.
Absolutely mind-blowing what the final product actually is, considering all of that.
I completely forgot that Monolith Soft worked on Dirge Cerberus.
Did they really?
Yeah. At least that's what the Wikipedia page says.
Everybody starts somewhere.
Jeez.
Well, it wasn't their start, but yeah, sure.
Yeah,
It has a weird spot somewhere.
Wow, not a good start.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, yeah.
What's wrong with Dirge Cerberus?
I think this was a game that was probably pegged by people that it would never be able to live. It could be great, but it would not live up to expectations just because people would just blow the expectations like out of proportion for this. And I think also part of that was fueled by, for so long, we got everything but a remaster to this game, an HD remake of this game. With the compilation of Final Fantasy VII stuff, they would give us everything, sequels, prequels, but they just would not touch the original game. Like that was like sacred to them. We can go every other direction, but retouch the original time.
I feel like even at that time, though, they were kind of like hinting that that it was all leading up to something. It was like a
tease. Yeah. But they like never pulled the trigger until like they showed the tech demo, and then they kept talking about it, and it just never materialized. So I think what Max was saying was that you kind of forgot about it for a while, and like this is never gonna happen. Like,
yeah, like it was. You wanted more stuff, but there was like a solid 3 years where there was just absolutely nothing. And the funny thing is that like the only reason that it sort of came into existence, and Kitase and Nomura sort of spoke about this in interviews, was literally their mortality. Like they're like, if we start this project now, we're going to be how old by the time it's done? Like we have to do it. If we're going to do this, we have to do this now.
I get this.
Like Nomura is in his mid 40s and he said, Nojima's way older than me. So, and he's the original scenario and current scenario writer. So I think that was a big part of it because there was a big thing early on that FF7 is too, nobody wants to touch it, right? These people that were initially involved in part of the key decisions and development actually didn't want to get close to it until like that realization they had in an interview that, okay, if we're going to do this, realistically, we have to do it now. Like actually now, because how old are you going to be by the time this is over?
I think
you could say that at any point, like that's stupid. Like how many times do you think that they've said things to various degrees about that internally, like discussions? You think this was the only discussion that was had was about the mortality? If we're going to do it, we have to do it now. No, that wasn't the only time they brought up the subject. I don't need to be a freaking fortune teller to know that. Like, again, you're stating something that's obviously not true as a fact. I think that's the only way that's going to happen.
Final Fantasy VII Remake in like one quick explanation. I feel like Final Fantasy and really Square Enix at large is at its worst when it feels like plot overtakes character completely. Like where you don't feel invested and you just feel like the game is like constantly explaining bullshit to you. And that, well, you can maybe make arguments that parts of Final Fantasy VII Remake do that. How grounded and real all of these characters felt that I've seen not just in Final Fantasy VII, right, but in the compilation of Final Fantasy VII and cameos in other games as well. How it kind of felt like I was getting to know them for the first time, and how vulnerable they felt, and how much I cared about them. That really blew me away completely.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And it's the thing I was worried the most.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
These characters have never been represented this well in Advent Children, in Crisis Core. I've cited Zack, who's actually a genuinely good character. But Zack in Crisis Core is a human character in like this weird robot anime world.
Yeah.
Like he knows it. Like it's when I played the game recently, he's like, "What are you talking about? Everybody's crazy." Like he actually has moments like that in the game. I'm like, "Oh my God, he's the audience. Holy hell."
Yeah.
And Dirge of Cerberus, which has such a disconnect of just what
Oh my god, my dogs are
even
going
Final
freaking
Fantasy
nuts.
VII is like.
Okay, so no. Dirge of Cerberus, or sorry, I'll go back to Crisis Core first. Crisis Core. There's so many things that Zack does that no audience member would ever participate in. When I say audience, I mean player. Like, oh my god, there's so many. Like, how do you even start? So, Zack joins Soldier to become a hero. Sephiroth, right? That's his dream. He wants to be kind of like Cloud. Very, very similar to Cloud. He really looked up to Sephiroth. He joined for that reason. Then he's in a battle with Wu Tai. Basically ends the Wu Tai war. He's in like the last battle, basically. And he's, part of that. And then, he witnesses the whole thing with Genesis. All of that. Sees how bad of a company Shinra is. But he still stays with Shinra. Which doesn't make any sense. Like he up until the point where he breaks out of the Mako juice, he's in with Shinra. Like he never leaves Shinra. Like that is not what a person in the audience would do. I guess I'll just leave it at that. What does he say about Dirge of Cerberus?
That's act of just he's the audience. Holy hell.
Yeah.
And Dirge of Cerberus, which has such a disconnect of just what even Final Fantasy VII is, like that's the stuff that's been leading you up to this. And now you have honestly, I
How is Dirge of Cerberus disconnected?
feel a Square game, much less a game that brings back the memories of character attachment like the original Final Fantasy VII, like Metal Gear Solid in many ways. Like these characters feel so grounded and real and human. It's easily one of the easiest things they could have screwed up. And it's probably my favorite.
What's going on here?
Favorite of like any video game because I'm an FF7 fan. It's what I wanted.
Yeah, I would say their character portrayals in this game has been some of the best Square in a long time. Like a long time. All the past Final Fantasy, like I love Kingdom Hearts, but I'm like, man, those characters are like totally unrealistic,
Dude, yeah.
like goofy robots. But like this, yes, they actually give you the time to get to know these characters. And I was, like you guys saying, just so happy how like human they felt, because it could have been a disaster.
For sure. It was one of the biggest concerns for me as well. And I think it was pretty clear from the beginning that they were doing a good job of it. But I think the moment that hit me the hardest was when Barrett basically unleashed, like just displaying his grief. After the plate comes down and he's banging on the rocks. So that scene in the original one kind of like feels a little supposed to be this like big important moment. It's a little goofy with like those character models, but like the voice work accompanying it as well, like the writing, like
And the direction.
the direction and delivery of it. It was like I like it hurt to watch him. Like it was like suffering and like him in denial that this was going on.
Anytime Barrett and Marlene talk to each other,
Oh my
is
god.
like,
Yes,
this is
Heartwarming.
crazy,
Yeah.
dude. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Damiani, I actually think a criticism that you can level at the original Final Fantasy and a lot of other games in general is they don't really do too much character development outside of like the segments where it's like, okay, now we're going to explain the backstory of this character. It's like, this is the Barrett part, or this is, you know, the Aerith part, or it's very segmented. And I think Final Fantasy VII Remake takes this opportunity to represent this story and gives you so many incredible and authentic small moments where,
Dude.
you know, just through the animation and the little banter that is going on, you get a much stronger sense of these characters, and they don't have to wait for the big flashback scene.
I
really
remember
appreciate.
at the behind the door thing at E3. I think Max, you saw that too. Is like when we saw it, and like when they were just in the elevator, and like how like fleshed out the characters were. I was like kind of shocked and blown away about it.
It was the thing that I wanted to talk to somebody about. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I need someone that has perspective, that saw the same thing I did, because I can't convey how the characters were acting without sounding like a crazy person.
Yeah,
Because it's the opposite of what Square does.
yeah. It's just hard to like to explain that feeling too, of like how good the dialogue felt between them. It's something you have to show, not necessarily tell so well, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah, the localization team clearly worked their butts off. And what's weird to me about localization is you also have to be a normal person. You have to
You have to talk like a human.
Yeah, exactly. And so like you have to be you have to first of all know 2 languages at least and understand them well, but also just have characters speak
Like
naturally.
talk, how someone would actually talk.
And they use swear words really well. You know, I'm shocked by that.
Yeah. So this game probably has the most effective cursing ever in a video game.
I think, I mean, this is an assumption on my part, but I think what is amazing about this localization is it feels like they are just gigantic Final Fantasy VII fans, right? Like they know the shit
Dude, I feel that.
in and out. Like they have a huge respect for the source material.
Yeah, I agree.
But they don't. It doesn't become this prison. Like they
Localization's
understand
really good.
it well enough to manipulate it and make it better. But they don't treat it like, oh, I can't change anything. They're not too literal about it. Which I really like.
It just sucks that
The
they
best
have
example of that is the depiction of Aerith.
Oh,
and
yeah.
how some people are reacting.
just sucks that you have to that voice actors have to make everything map along with the you have to make everything map along with the voice, like the Japanese voice acting's length. So basically they do the motion capture all to the Japanese side of things, and English part just has to fit in it. There's no alternatives. You have to get it to fit in it. Kind of sucks.
Acting to like Aerith cursing in some situations, like the way that she acts, and they don't like that because she has been sort of depicted as this holier than thou kind of character in Final Fantasy post FF7. But when you go back and you listen to her talk, she is the snarkiest, like flirtiest, weird, kooky girl. And they get it because she is this entire game. Like the whole game, she has this character and personality, and then obviously has like a deeper meaning behind her, maybe behind what she's saying, and it's handled with genuine care. And that's the part where you realize that either it's the localization team, but also I think the way Nojima described it, how they used to write Cloud in these characters of what fans expect them to be, and instead of the way they originally were. And they said they went back on Remake. They went back to, we're going to write the characters like we wrote them back in the 90s.
Cool.
And that shows in spades.
Okay, so
Well, I thought we were just, didn't you? He was the one that was just saying how disconnected things were. Now they're getting away from what the original intent was. Huh. Interesting that you say that after you.
Greg, can you just do that with your other properties as well?
Do that with
Can you
everything.
just go back to how you were-
Just do fan service. Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
even like
fan
even with
service has
Cloud,
its
'cause
uses.
I saw people
Fan service has its
Me,
uses, I guess,
disappointed,
right?
rather than saying they complained, they were a little disappointed. He showed so much emotion in this game compared to the original one because
What?
I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
like,
what?
what?
Like, because like in spoiler territory, like his backstory and stuff, which we haven't really gotten into yet, so I can't say it here yet because that's beyond the scope of this game.
It's even original spoilers. At
But
this point,
it's like original game spoilers and stuff. But people who played the original were like, he shouldn't be acting like this. I'm like,
Shit.
like
Spoil
I don't-
everything.
for me, I didn't care. I like this. I was like, I like Cloud getting excited, caring, like, not being this like cold, like. I mean, there's parts like that for sure where he does that. I mean, not every part's perfect. Like, if you want to criticize something, the best part is, because I literally just replayed it last night, is helping the old man who can't visit the grave anymore in Sector 5, where you go there and kill the monsters and then
that's an
pay
interesting
the
quest.
respects. Because when you go back to him, you basically are using reverse psychology on him, but he gets like angry on you at you because you just don't want him to get killed or hurt himself trying to visit there. So he's like, fine, I won't do it anymore and stuff. So he's like angry at you and like hates you, goes, you're just a merc who wants money and stuff. And the next second you turn to Aerith and Aerith's like, doesn't it feel good to help people and stuff? And like, it's all happy and jolly and stuff. I was like, there's still moments like that.
Actually, that's a scripted moment that happens after you either finish all the side quests or do the first side quest. So that though, because you probably only played it.
Or it could
Yeah.
be like massaged a little bit, like that's the game showing its cracks. But at the same time, everything you said was like all of you said about like this characters, like the way they were written. But the best part for me is that they took this opportunity to expand. Like, instead of making filler stuff to pad this game out for the most part, they took these moments and like they took these areas, fleshed them out. But the like byproduct of that is you spend more time with these characters. And as you're just walking along, like the banter between them, like it's just adding so much development. Like, I love that. Like, you got to see, I cared more about characters now than I did before. Like, I knew it was like seeing Jesse, Wedge, and Biggs, how much screen time they're getting, how much like dialogue they're getting. I was like, I'm gonna really care about these characters when shit goes down with them. And
How many of you guys? How many
And
of you
I
guys,
did,
when you
for
got
sure.
to Sector 7 for the first time underground, like, the lower plate of Sector 7, just walked around the town and heard people talk about like Shinra and stuff?
Dude, yeah.
That's all I
it's
fucking
great.
did.
I got choked up at that point when I was playing through it. I just like looked up and just saw the plate and everyone talking around me. I was like,
Yeah,
holy shit, I'm
me too.
in this world right now.
Yeah, just like the fact that people are talking about
That's
like
what I
coming
did
back from
constantly.
work
I just
and what happened at
constantly
the
walked
bombing
around
their
and just
husband's
was
gonna make it. I was
walking
like,
around and listening to
realized,
every
dude, this
single
place is
conversation.
real. I can't believe this.
Yeah.
Like that's honestly the same spot where I was like, there was just too much joy. Like I'm like, I have to go take a break and kiss my wife or some shit. Like I can't. I have to just get this away from me.
I actually really like how they handled Avalanche in this game. Not only with obviously the Avalanche crew that we're familiar with, but the expansion of it, and really just kind of like how they didn't portray Avalanche. And this is in the original Final Fantasy VII as well, but I think they do a better job here of like the way people talk about Avalanche and the pain that you're causing, and then like how Jesse is kind of internalizing that pain, and how Tifa questions it, and how like maybe the organization that you're aligned with doesn't have the same values as you. Like they added good nuance to these groups. And I think that a lot of that can be applied to Shinra as well, and kind of the different sides of Shinra that you see.
The way the Turks act.
Yeah, the Turks are
How they
great.
know
Yeah.
they're doing bad things, and they're like, well, can't grow a conscience now, like type
Right.
stuff.
Shinra HQ is actually when I listened to the most NPCs. I thought those people were just kind of interesting. I was way into.
Oh yeah, just working in there, dude.
I'd go out of my way. Like,
Avalanche
I want to hear
I
what these
love
people are
that
talking
shit,
about.
dude.
Yeah, and they feel bad too, and like it's just like I can't believe all that happens. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's just impressive amount of
Listen
like
to
dialogue they had
everyone,
for them.
every
The fact that, like,
conversation.
they would almost all update when you did something
And
significant.
it would change. Like 4 big things change what everybody says.
Yeah.
And it's like it was just so great at immersing me, making me feel this is a living world. I could not appreciate that enough. I know other games do similar things, but it just was never a detractor for me. And it never graded, and it was something I didn't want to like. I wish I could turn this off. I just loved it, and I did. Like you, Max. Like every new area I went to was just like I'm mandatory walking around and hearing everyone what they're saying and stuff. Like,
and I think a big part of it is that the localization that lends itself so well to the main cast. Also, they do their best with all these side characters. Like they try to give like all these like little characters you talk to moments and things, like the teacher who you meet at another area at the end who comes back to being a teacher, and like all these tiny things that are sprinkled throughout each of the big towns of the game. And that just is just complemented with the fact that they get it. Like we need a way to open up the world of Final Fantasy VII without giant exposition dumps. And I kind of love that there's no written text dialogue in the game like at all. There's subtitles, but what you hear about everything is coming from the words of the people in each sector, or the upper plate or whatnot. So you're like a normal person, you're just walking by and you just hear people talking about how Avalanche blew something up, and some person heard like, well, I heard they're actually hurting the planet, and like, nah, that's bullshit, there's some crazy terrorists. And you hear all these different perspectives throughout the whole game.
It's like Skyrim.
Max, on that very specific point, I was remarking to my wife, I was like, this is amazing that everything is spoken and there's so much dialogue. And I looked over and I said, like, other games just can't do this. Like, they just don't have the budget for this.
For
like,
sure,
a lot of games wish they could.
That's where they felt like they were throwing money at the screen.
Right, totally.
Maybe Skyrim doesn't
a slight
do that.
criticism
Now
that I have, I
thought they
agree
did,
with
though.
everything you guys are saying about the conversations. I feel like in Sector 5 specifically, there were moments where like I would walk forward and it would just be like
Yes.
3 different conversations happening at once, and it would be like a wall of sound.
Even during
like
mid cutscene, it would happen too.
Yeah, and I was like, this could be like spread out a little bit more.
better,
Maybe it doesn't have to be quite
That
as
happened
much.
to me
Do you
all
remember
the
audio
time.
balancing, like the dialogue balancing in Final Fantasy 15? How that was super weird. How characters were sort of cutting each other off, and people were like trying to get their words in while you were continuing as a character, and then they were cutting each other off again.
I hate that.
It's like there's definitely a much better balance of that in this game, but it's not perfect. And I do like this whole proximity audio thing relative to your character. But when you start running, it falls apart. Like when you just cook it through a town, it's like
Same thing. If you are rotating the camera, it messes it up. Like it'll focus a certain conversation, but multiple people talking. It happens in Earth. It's not perfect at all.
I'm just running. Like everyone, like whoa, holy what was that? But if you walk through it, it's like kind of okay.
I have a very particular question, Max, that you made me think of that it's not relevant to this conversation at all, but it's something I haven't.
Okay, I just had to take a break, but back now for who knows how long.
Been able to ask anybody. So there's that one teacher who becomes a dancer. She's like a bee.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you see her later and she's a teacher and you never talk about it again. Is there any more of that?
Nope.
I don't think so. I think I spoke to her again, so I was like, so how about last night at the Honeybee Inn? And she doesn't, and it's like the character doesn't acknowledge it because she's like,
that's not true.
Yeah,
What the fuck are my dogs interrupting shit?
Like, no, you're just not going to tell.
I thought it was cool, right? She kind of like hints that she's got some plans tonight, and then you just see her in some alleyway. You got to like tuck in behind.
Nope, that's not true. I don't know why he's saying stuff he doesn't know. I'm not going to question it. So actually what she does is she says that she really wanted to be a dancer, and she is really appreciate if he keeps to himself so that the kids don't get the wrong idea about him or wrong idea about her. And then she says, she has to go to her other job and stuff. She acknowledges it.
Yeah,
dude, it's super sketchy. She's like having a cigarette or something.
but that added so much to that character, and you can just completely miss it. Oh, I loved that.
And it also is like not like everybody just stays in their one little NPC city too. I like that. All the stuff is with it.
Oh, like Johnny and stuff like that. My God, dude, like the stuff they do with Johnny is just so much fun. Like the thing that when Johnny showed up and he started being a character, he has like one of my favorite moments at the very beginning of the game that is like crucial for the character development. And it's the part where Tifa tells Cloud, "You're scaring me." And I'm like, this scene is fantastic. I hope this isn't the end of Johnny, because this character is very sporadic in the original Final Fantasy VII, and he barely has much he does. He just sort of shows up at some random places, and he sort of like follows you from Sector 7. But the way they sprinkled him in, when you eventually get to Wall Market, not really a spoiler, but when you eventually get to Wall Market,
why are you
he's
mentioning
there a lot.
that? You're on a spoiler
And
cast.
it made me realize this is Yakuza.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Just playing,
Yes.
Walmart
just
is
playing Yakuza at this point. It's FF7 Yakuza.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
Uh,
Kamarocho.
for sure.
Yeah.
Quick clarification.
I don't have a reference to Yakuza at all because I haven't played this game yet, but maybe I will eventually. But yeah, basically, he says he's gonna get out of town, and he just ends up at Walmart and other places. What the? I think you see him in Sector 5 first, actually. What the?
Clarification for you, Max. You can say spoilers for anything you want for the remake
Yeah.
and stuff.
Gotcha.
I was
Okay.
I just was
You
not
could
wanting to
swear,
spoil
too.
anything that happens beyond what we saw in the remake in the original game.
This is spoiler
Gotcha, okay.
mode, baby.
But,
I think.
like,
We're
yeah.
spoiling the shit
Yeah,
out of this.
it's all on the table,
Yeah.
dude.
So I guess OG Final Fantasy 7 spoilers are open as well.
Yes.
So
Well, okay.
don't feel restricted by that.
No, why would you? Don't spoil this part of the original game. What? What? Then it's basically might as well not even talk about the remake then.
Yeah.
I also feel like
I won't.
Okay, great.
like remake
Oh God.
Sorry.
necessitates talking about the original Final Fantasy VII.
Like
They show flashes
yeah.
of
Oh,
shit
they-
that
They,
does not
they
happen in the
absolutely
remake.
do. So,
they-
but I just want to
they
make it clear for
totally
you.
put
I want
that
to
on
make it
the
clear for
table.
Max because I know how you do your stuff, Max. Like you say on camera, like, okay, now we're going to talk about spoilers. Like you are free to say whatever you want. Like spoilers
good
are
because
completely allowed.
That's very good because there's a moment where I have to like get a barometer from all of you guys
Yeah,
on
yeah.
what level you are on this game's story because there's a surface level understanding of like the events that transpire and the things that happen, and then there's like level 2, and then there's level 3, and then there's like huge giant omega brain level 4. So and then everyone's on level 1 when you start and you don't really see these things, but this game does something that I adore when it comes to storytelling, and it's that its subsequent playthroughs are dramatically affected with perspective. Dramatically. And
No, they're not. I played through the game 3 times. 4 times. Oh, it was 4. No, actually, it was 5 times. I played through the game 5 times. It's not dramatically different each time you play.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, if you go back and you start listening to what characters say and how events transpire and who's talking to what and how they're talking to who, things are put in a completely different light than, oh, this is just the original Final Fantasy VII as a remake. And it gets
No, you realize that the first time.
much deeper than that with a lot of subtext and a whole bunch of proof. Like there are so many things that people are finding throughout the story that are just, what the hell is going on?
This is the stuff I want to get into. I want to get
No, see, you know all that the first playthrough. I don't know why you would know that the second or even further than that playthrough. So the first playthrough, you know that the fates exist within chapter 2, Remake Aerith. I think it was chapter 3. Yeah, so it might have been chapter 4 actually. Where you meet Aerith and you see the whispers for the first time. And also you see how they like make the my dog's going. Make the scorpion boss go fucking nuts. You're like, okay, things are a little different here. In this all the first playthrough, you all see all of this. So you know this. After the first it's not dramatically different. One thing that you might see is like when the whispers are going around Aerith and you're kind of wondering, okay, well, why is she like moving her hands like that? And who's deciding which whisper seeing, like who's seeing these whispers? I actually had to when I read the Ultimania, you know that you have to touch one to have seen them. And then there's also the case where Aerith touches you, or when like Aerith touched Marlene, I think that she saw them, remembering right. And when she touched Red. So it's all stuff that you might see in the second playthrough, but further than that, no. Factually wrong. Don't see how you would ever see that.
Into
Oh,
this.
jeez, man.
Max, you're talking about the levels of where we're at. Max, I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan, dude. Like I'm level 5 on this thing.
And
like,
here's
I'm 6, 5, 6.
I appreciate
I'm out
that.
of my mind right now.
So
Same. I'm huge into Kingdom Hearts. I at every single Kingdom Hearts in the fucking 3DS, 3DS ones. Played them all. Done it all. Even the fucking mobile game. So yeah, you talk to me about shit when you really understand, please.
and I appreciate that because like everyone's like, oh, you're getting Nomura. Everyone's saying that. I'm like, so I feel like there's a big difference in FF7 Remake
Dude,
of us getting Nomura.
It's
because
so much different.
We know the scale, we know the perspective, we know where the story is like going. Like we have an idea already that there is going to be a conclusion that makes a tolerable amount of sense. And also the other big one is that we're invested as shit. It is why we're talking about this. It's
Again, stating it as facts, that's not is definitely not true. I don't think we're gonna get a conclusive end. I'm gonna say it right now. I'll review this when the last part 3 comes out, but we're not gonna get a conclusive end at the end of all of this. Everything is not gonna be wrapped up in a nice little bow. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
why I've watched about 7 or 8 different podcasts of people in the exact same position we are, just like losing their minds, like upset, distracted, emotionally compromised. Like people love it, they tell you they don't love it. Like the amount of conversations that are happening at the end of this game is like different than any game I've ever played. And that's because people are on all these different levels. And I hear these conversations of people that, oh, they didn't figure out that yet. Oh God, they don't know about this. Oh, they didn't catch that.
Do I even need to say it? I'll say it. That's happening right now. This guy doesn't understand yet. None of them understand yet.
Like once they figure that out, it's like I wonder what they think. Or what if they're ever going to find that out? If they just are going to.
Same about Maximilian Dude. Almost 2 million subscribers, and he still hasn't figured some stuff out. So I don't think he's ever going to figure it out.
Leave the game and then not pay attention to any of it. So I'm so glad that like I couldn't do Kingdom Hearts because
that's why he should watch this video and be thankful that I'm here, so that he can understand the stuff that he doesn't.
It's crazy. It's not for everybody. That's for sure.
Yeah, like the characters, and I see why people like all of like Kingdom Hearts weird stilted dialogue and all that stuff. Like it's practically its identity now, and it feels like they just went exemplary with it in Kingdom Hearts 3. So my issue is that there's no characters for me to like want to see them do well.
There is a lot of conversation where people are like, "Oh man, they just went batshit crazy in the last 10%,"
and it seems that way.
Right. Well, because
not seems they did. Not even a question. If you think differently, you're an idiot.
I had this feeling when I was first playing through it, where something would happen, I'd be like, "Oh, that's weird." And then I would immediately go into like, oh man, they're recreating the scene that I know super well. Like you would just kind of.
Now, like the whole thing with the Hurricane of Whispers, like and it protecting the Shinra Tower for no reason. It wasn't even being like attacked or whatever, but it was just surrounding the whole Shinra Tower. That doesn't make any sense. There's no explanation. That's just one example, by the way, of something that doesn't make any sense. How about you going along pieces, like the highway gets completely destroyed and you're jumping along pieces of the highway that are just floating midair doing nothing? Like, okay.
Put it in the back of your mind.
First time I saw Whispers, I was like, was that part of it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of reaction. Totally. But then once you have the knowledge of the ending, it's like, no, they were really like, even maybe heavy-handedly setting this up throughout the entire game. Like they were leaning.
I think you were correct when you said the heavy-handedly part. That's why it is going batshit crazy
into this. It's not like it did come completely out of nowhere.
Where they were doing the flashes like forward of the visions, like Cloud seeing the stuff, and like even the Advent Children shots, I was just like, holy shit, dude. I need to take a second.
So this is the
thing of a single shot that was from Advent Children. And I have watched Advent Children, obviously. There's maybe he's thinking of the part with Red, but no, there's nothing from Advent Children. I played the game, what did I say, 5 times? I actually beat the game an extra time. All the ending.
That's the kind of perspective I've been trying to like tell people, because people like jump in there like, that's so weird and dumb and it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, okay, so here's the thing. I call them the plot ghosts, and that's just what they are, right? The plot ghosts are the most obvious and aggressive thing in the game that is essentially trying to intervene and manipulate the story. And that's the one that you notice and you're like, I hate this. Even me understanding what the plot ghosts are and what they do and why they're doing it, I still am like, I don't like the way they're
implemented in it.
like they're implemented.
They're kind of like a weird wall that just comes up like blocking materia, and you're just like, wait, why?
They're a literal wall. Yeah.
They're literal, like in moments they literally get in the way of you getting materia and stuff like that. I'm like, get the hell out of here! They started ghosts.
It's not gonna change the timeline.
Where's my game? Like, get out of the way. So I
need
felt
that chakra materia.
but I've come to like realize that they're not as like. There's like the level 1. Like I said, there's multiple levels to this. So Kyle, I'll give you some perspective on like where me and Brad are kind of at right here.
Sure.
The plot ghosts when you beat the game are obviously like meta, right?
I don't know if it's you and Brad. Maybe just
they have this perspective where it's like, oh, they're representing of like the fans, and it's the developers need to like create something new, because even if you're remaking something, you have to put a spin on it that feels fresh, or else you just get bored because you just feel like you're repeating the past. And the plot ghosts represent fans, and they are there to preserve what their legacy is and all this.
Nope, they don't represent the fans. They represent the original story. The way he states this shit as facts.
Stuff. And it really feels that way, and I'm sure you probably felt that way upon like beating the game too, right?
It was actually what I was hoping they were. It was, I feel like when you get to Shinra HQ, you start to get it. You start to get their intent.
Yeah.
And I was like,
really? Okay, so yeah, if they're fans, then why are they protecting the Shinra HQ when you're riding on the highway? Riding away from the Shinra HQ. Why would they protect you don't have a reason, do you?
Man, what if these things are trying to make sure the first game happens? And I thought they were like maybe good guys. And then it's very clear that it's like, hey, maybe it's not a good thing if the original events happen.
Yeah.
I think you can even see that.
It's definitely not. If you have seen Advent Children or read any of the books, which I don't know if Maximilian probably hasn't read the books, or looked at any before Crisis stuff. But yeah, you kind of don't want the original events to happen, because it completely kills tons and tons of people. Even though you stop Meteor, it's still a cataclysmic scale event, because it stops just as Holy is coming back, like to stop it, and then the whole deep ground thing happens after that. Is Surge Cerberus. It's a rough couple of events that happen after the end of the original game. So I guess ideally you could say you want to stop Sephiroth before he summons Meteor, or stop Meteor way, way earlier. Because originally Holy doesn't work. Holy long enough for it to just not working right. Until he was about to crash into the
in the way in which they present Shinra itself, and like slowly make you go through and look at everything. I also think it can be a metaphor in that way, like people are interpreting the ghosts, where it's like commenting on how preciously you view things, I guess.
Yeah. And that's the exact perspective that you should have upon first beating the game. And to me it felt the same way, where it's like, man, I really didn't like the plot ghosts. And then somebody tells you Sephiroth is from the future. And you're like, what? Excuse me? Like, Sephiroth is Advent Children's Sephiroth. He's going.
No, he's not. Did say anything else? Oh.
Going back to Final Fantasy VII, Thanos style, to stay alive because he knows he's going to die. And you're like, you've now reached level 2. What? Excuse me? Like, and then you start thinking about the plot ghosts and the
Yeah, again, nothing from Advent Children is shown. It could just be the end of FF. No, nothing specific to Advent Children occurs. Don't hear anything about Geostigma or about how it can't be absorbed by the life stream or about Genova and the life stream. Any of that stuff.
big realization I had was when somebody said they were holding Aerith in place at the beginning so Cloud could meet her. And I'm like,
no, she was already there. She was already there, and she like said, like, hi to him or whatever, as she was being attacked.
huh, you're, and I'm like, yeah, I was kind of perturbed by the opening scene of Cloud meeting Aerith. You don't get like the kind of sweet, you know, solemn scene that they sort of exchange a flower and move their separate ways and then bump into each other just because it's their, right? It's their eventual fate. But now she's like freaking out and things are all different. And Cloud's essentially like forced to meet her because of.
They were trying to take her memories. We don't know. It's okay to admit when you don't know something. I don't, doesn't quite get this. But I will admit when I don't know something. The Whispers were trying to take her memories. We don't know why. Maybe because if her memories, could because she's so strong and if her memories aren't taken, then she's going to be trying to change what's happening in the game. But that's what they were doing, was trying to take her memories.
How like disturbed she is, right? But what happened right before that? Do you remember like the big event that happened right before Cloud saw Aerith?
Is that walking through the fire sequence with Sephiroth?
It is.
Cool.
It is,
Yeah.
absolutely. So much different than the original Final Fantasy VII. You have to start thinking about things in perspective now that we know Sephiroth's from the future. Anything different from the original game is Sephiroth screwing with the past.
So he delayed.
No. Because Aerith also has that ability. So he doesn't control everything. Don't know what's happening quite yet.
Cloud, basically. He just wasted more of his time.
He literally led him into a corner, spewed some lies about him saving the planet and that we have to save it together just so he would never meet Aerith.
Yeah.
And if you go back and you start paying attention to the plot ghosts and where Sephiroth is,
that doesn't make any sense. Because for him to get the black materia, she has to help him. You didn't think about that, did you? You little piece of shit. You didn't think about that. How is he supposed to get the black materia to call down Meteor? He doesn't meet her. Please tell me. I would love to know.
and what the things he are doing throughout the entire game, it actually lines up. Like the reason, one of the most confusing ones to me is like, why are all the plot ghosts around when the plate's about to fall? And then you have to fight plot ghosts before you get to
because they want the plate to fall.
The tower. And then you have to like fight these things. Like all the characters are like, get the hell out of the way. It's because right when you get to the tower after the plot ghosts, Biggs falls down. And that's the exact moment when the characters get there in the original game. So they were getting the characters to the tower when they needed to be so they don't run up it too soon. Mm-hmm. It's like...
they're doing exactly what they were supposed to do for Fate. Exactly. Anything that Sephiroth's controlling.
Every single time the plot ghosts actually come into effect, it's because Sephiroth butterfly affected the shit out of the original timeline of Final Fantasy VII.
No. That doesn't even make sense. Because they still go through the train graveyard and everything. You think that from that first instance that everything is delayed so that now everything else has to be because of that? That doesn't make sense because they got to the tower early.
He messed stuff up that starts screwing other things up,
That's so aggravating. he delayed Cloud so that everything else, if you want to think about it like a time delaying thing, then why would he be early to the tower then? And no one challenges on him on any of this stuff. It's so annoying. Just everyone agree with him.
That affects all the stuff that sort of starts going throughout the original game, and they're like a defense of the planet to get everything back in order because some things aren't natural anymore. Sephiroth is a virus, and we have to like fix all of his problems.
I got a question then, because I swear at one point there was one that was like hovering over Cloud's face and like sucking on it, and it was like
Yes.
Dream for me or something. I can't remember.
It says dream the sweetest of dreams. And what happens
What is that?
right after that, it's the only time one of them talk, and people are already I watched an interpretation of this scene, and people are saying it sounds like Sephiroth is talking to him, but I don't know exactly. I'd have to like watch it a few more times.
Yeah.
But that's
Wow, he admitted he didn't know something. That's crazy.
that's happening because right after that, the entire group of Avalanche is getting attacked by the ghosts, and they have that big fight out scene in the middle of Seventh Heaven.
Mhm.
What happens to Jessie during all that? She gets injured and she's unable to go on the mission. It was revealed before that Cloud is not going on this mission anymore. That Sephiroth's butterfly effect of stuff has affected that in some way.
Oh, it's just a different universe, so different things are happening. Nothing to do with Sephiroth. He doesn't control everything.
So now the ghosts have to find a way to get Cloud to go on this mission because it's critical, because he's got to follow.
By the way, I shouldn't even have to explain why this stuff is true, because he's not explaining why his part is true. But I'm not going to be that petty. I'm going to say that it's quite obvious that Sephiroth is not controlling the Whispers at this stage. He's controlling it in Rebirth, but not now. Because he's actively fighting against them and slashing them. So why do you think he's working with them and using them? Doesn't make any sense. My dogs are going fucking crazy once again, so I'm gonna pause this. Okay. How far are we into this? So we are almost at an hour. I don't know how much longer I want to go, but it's gonna take forever. They keep stopping, but whatever. It is what it is. This is important to me. So I'm not they will definitely not gonna do all this today. But yeah, let's go a little bit longer.
All down and meet Aerith,
Mhm.
right? He has to go to there and fight Airbuster and do all that stuff. So what do? They literally make him sleep in. They literally make so that he doesn't immediately go out and start fighting all the ghosts and stuff like that.
Max, that makes so much sense. It just wanted him to sleep.
Yep, they just want him to sleep. It's not even like a crazy thing. Dude, it's once I realized this, I'm like, holy shit, I don't hate the ghosts anymore. They're still like, I don't like the way they're implemented, but when you start looking at everything they do, and then later on, like when we start talking about the things they really start doing, which actually even more reveals how this actually does make sense. I didn't hate them as much.
Sure.
I still don't like their implementation. I think the game would have been complete.
They're just exactly what Aerith said they are. You don't have to take it any further than it is make up your own shit to make it sound more interesting. He said that it's the Whispers of Fate. Called Whispers of Fate. That is what they're called. Is Whispers of Fate. Not Whispers of Sephiroth. It's trying to keep things on the true timeline. That's it.
Completely fine without them because, and I know I'm going on for a long time. I want to let you guys talk.
No, you won't. You won't.
Because the things in the game that are already telling the player what's going on, like with the story, that things are different, you accept it because they were cool. Plot ghosts aren't cool. They're like aggressive and they're in your face and they're blocking you.
And they're not fun to fight.
They're not fun. Like they're like the antithesis of fun. It's the planet like trying to stop things from happening or make things happen.
I thought it was Sephiroth.
You didn't notice that Sephiroth showing up early is a completely different thing than the original. Him meddling with stuff and showing up in visions different than the original Final Fantasy VII. You were okay with because it was cool. And Cloud also can see the future somehow. And you're like, why can Cloud see the future? Oh, it's just a storytelling thing. That's neat. That's really crazy that Cloud has visions of stuff that's going to happen to him. Those are really emotionally resonant scenes. But then you realize that Sephiroth's from the future as well, and it's like the planet talking to him, this shit is bad, like warning, like things are warning the player, but you accepted it as the player because it's cool. It's like nice storytelling stuff.
Don't tell me what I'm accepting when I'm not, by the way. It's really fucking annoying. You act like you're like fucking God. He's acting like he is God. Like not questioning any, not when anyone else thinks, like, no, this is facts. Or God. Who can listen to this guy? So fucking annoying. It's Whispers of Fate.
Only after you beat the game, you realize, like, wait a minute, oh my God, there were so many things trying to warn us of what's going on here, but you didn't realize because plot ghosts are big and aggressive, you know?
No, I don't think anyone thought that.
So I think no matter how much you try to contextualize all that stuff and, you know, ascending through the levels as you characterized it, I'm not actually sure that makes it a better game. And what I mean by that is, like,
Where are we getting off saying that the Whispers of Fate are bad? Again, like, why are we assuming that they're bad, and who's saying that they're annoying? I never said that. I mean, they're hard to fight because the stagger meter and shit, but no, they're not a bad part of the story.
sometimes it feels like the ways you can appreciate 7 Remake are fighting each other a little bit, because you can almost appreciate it as a diehard fan who is looking for an expansion. You can almost appreciate it as a brand new player with no knowledge, and you can almost appreciate it as a metaphor for the fans, but it doesn't feel like it's completely any one of those things.
Yeah, specifically the plot ghosts, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
So I think there is a little bit of frustration and a lack of satisfaction when it comes to it. It does in a way feel like it's trying to walk down all of these different paths simultaneously, and I get why they're trying to do that, and I think that comes back into expectation. But there are definitely times, I think especially at the ending, where I want a clearer idea of exactly what their intent is, and I think that will come to light in the sequels, and that's why I'm like,
this game
whether I ultimately like or dislike this will come down to the sequels. But I do think there is, like, from an audience perspective, I do think there are some themes that are fighting with each other a little bit.
This game is definitely like, hey, when you beat it, you're not going to know everything. And I'm okay with that in a lot of games, but I could definitely see why people want like definitive answers for a lot of things. Like, we're not going to know, like, everything we're talking about right now could be completely wrong for all we know.
Yeah.
Like, things could completely
Well, he admits it, even though he acts like everything was a fact until now. Yes, you are completely wrong about many things. We'll continue on rebirth and stuff as you continue to be wrong about things. And that's okay. I'm not right about everything either, but I also like to admit when I'm wrong about things.
change, or it could be exactly what we're talking about. But I think people are definitely feeling the frustration of having like a clear vision of what's happening.
And like some people just don't like stories that are essentially left open-ended,
Right.
especially stories where you know like what happens. There's like a comfort in knowing what happens and just watching it recreated. And then suddenly when you realize that things are happening differently and aggressively, like the plot ghosts, like I said, I would have been so much happier.
Stop calling them plot ghosts. They're whispers. Oh god.
Probably with the plot elements of this story, if it was just Sephiroth sort of being shown up early and meddling with Cloud, just to a deeper extent than he does in the original, and Cloud having visions of the future, you know, and that because they essentially do the thing. It's like giving you hints that the characters are somewhat aware of what's going on, but that's like I said, that's all around like level 2 kind of stuff. But I completely agree with you, Ben, on that I just think the thematic handling of it is not, and what it builds up to, it's like a dump truck in the end. Like it's like you're playing FF7 and this remake is great, and then poof, this dump truck lies in and just dumps everything on you. You're like, all right. I don't know.
It feels to me it's like part of the video game medium. You know what I mean? It's like, give me something to fight. Give me a
Yeah.
big crazy thing to fight. I think it's I think that's kind of like what they all accumulated to.
I think he's right here. I don't remember exactly what they said in the Ultimania, but they basically concluded that Sephiroth was a big part of everyone. Basically, they wanted to make your game around Sephiroth. Like way more focused on Sephiroth. I remember who it was. I don't remember that made the game's names, but I think Cole or something, or was it just a favorite of that Sephiroth's like the most, like one of the most recognizable characters in all of video games. Not Cloud, Sephiroth, and they really wanted the fans to interact with Sephiroth a lot, so that's kind of like why they did it this way. And this is if I'm remembering correctly. And that's why, like, because he wouldn't have been in the Midgar section of the game at all, except for killing President Shinra, and like all of a sudden the Genova piece being gone, you find bloody footsteps all around in the Shinra building. That's pretty much it. For Sephiroth in the original game. But yeah.
I don't know if you guys agree with this, but just trying to put it in the perspective, because I was actually playing this with somebody who had no experience with Final Fantasy VII. And the point that kept coming up with her was, why is Sephiroth doing any of this? And like, with what you're
Exactly. That's a huge part of in the remake and part why it didn't really make sense, and it's kind of like a negative part, is you don't know anything about Sephiroth. If they want to act like this is for a brand new generation of players, they don't understand what's going on with Sephiroth, why he's there, who he is, what is he even doing, or why should you care, really, until like near the end of the game.
saying, Max, and obviously there are things that they're going to make more specific, but I think what's kind of frustrating about Sephiroth's portrayal in part 1,
lack of setup.
We get very clear motivations for
Interrupted what he said, but exactly.
each character, and knowing the original Final Fantasy VII, Sephiroth has very, very good reasons for doing what he's doing in relation to his character, but you just have no idea. Like, if you
Debatable. So he goes through like several different things, and he never really acknowledges any mistakes, sort of like Maximilian did. So he thinks he's an ancient, number one, aka Cetra. He thinks he is a Cetra because Genova was a Cetra. They think Genova was a Cetra. Genova's an alien. Cetras are not aliens. They were born on the planet. Again, Genova is an alien, ancient alien, but still an alien. 2,000 years ago alien. He crashed into the planet, same as the Gi. We don't know how the Gi got there, but yeah. And Sephiroth never acknowledges, oh wait, I'm not a Cetra. I really shouldn't. I'm not taking back the planet. But then when he all of a sudden changes to, now I am Genova now. I am doing the will of Mother. Which thinks that everyone needs to die, so that we can continue on our journey across the stars, basically. And to do that, he wants to become God and stand with life streams going crazy when meteors try to come in. So he's trying to become God, basically, of a dead planet when everyone's dead.
you've never played this game before, you have zero idea why Sephiroth is doing anything that he's doing.
So I completely agree with you. Like, I had to put myself in the perspective, and especially in the end, it hits you really hard where it's like, this will make zero sense to anyone that has
Right.
any idea who the hell is this dude that and since we're in spoilers, who the hell is this dude that shows up that looks like Cloud, right? What the hell is going on? Wait, he's
What? What dude looks like Cloud? Am I doing on Zach? Are you saying Sephiroth looks like Cloud?
holding Cloud? Like, what the hell is going on? And I had like an epiphany about it last night. I thought back to my original Final Fantasy VII playthrough, like when I was super young. I remember feeling this before. Who the hell is this guy that looks like Cloud?
Yeah.
And it's the same reaction I had when you see the picture in FF7 and you realize that, wait a minute, who the hell is that? That's what? So it's like, I almost feel like maybe they're trying to emulate that feeling in the end and then amplify it when you realize eventually that, holy shit, like they switch spots, like it'll actually make that moment even heavier when you actually understand when you realize what Cloud is. So, and I do agree with you on Sephiroth's like origin stuff, like not giving any motivation to the character. And then I'm also like,
I'm just like, he's not even making any sense right now, and everyone's just nodding along. If he's talking about switching spots with Zack, then you should say that. But also, Zack, you're not seeing anything about Zack, I don't think, at all in the remake, part 1. So,
like, I'm just trying to like, I really have done a lot of thinking in terms of how new players would see this, and I feel like Sephiroth is the Darth Vader of this game, right?
Yeah.
He's just this evil guy in the first episode, and he does all this
not even. Because he doesn't really do anything.
evil shit, and our good.
Nope, he doesn't do anything really evil, except for stabbing or killing Barrett.
Good guys obviously hate him, and he's definitely like everything wrong with the world, and Aerith is there to literally tell you everything about this guy is wrong.
Literally tell you. What's the non-literal version of telling someone something?
So that the part 2 can show up where you find out a lot about where he comes from, a lot about what he does, and eventually what he's going to do for quote unquote what will be the Empire Strikes Back of Final Fantasy VII's potential trilogy.
Max, you make such a good point, because I think about one of my favorite scenes in the original Final Fantasy VII where you're just traveling along the world map and there's that giant fucking snake and this thing is a pain in the ass, and then Sephiroth kills it, right? Like a very Darth Vader moment, as you're describing, sets up the menace, sets up the mystery. You don't really have a great understanding of Sephiroth at that point. I totally think that is what they're doing. I agree with you. But I also just realized, I think me criticizing some of these things and apprehension about how they're paying it off is not really with Final Fantasy VII Remake itself. It's a lack of confidence with Square Enix as a company.
Yeah.
Like playing.
Not completely unfounded if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan. There's a lot of shit that they just do and hope they'll figure out later. And that's a lot of storytelling in general. Like, look at J.J. Abrams shit. Like, it's a common thing in media is to just act like you have a plan, fake it till you make it. It's a very common thing. It's completely understandable to have that issue or be worried about that issue.
Kingdom Hearts 2 in 2005 and then playing Kingdom Hearts 3 in 2019. Like,
yes,
I think it just comes from like
exactly
feeling burned or just like feeling a lot of really long waits. And there's that apprehension.
And I've had
they did a good job of cleaning that up in Kingdom Hearts 3 for the most part, but a lot of it's like it's still left hanging too. Like
a lot of conversations with my chat over the past few days about this where people have no faith, right? They don't, they're like, I have no faith that this is going to come out any good. And I'm like,
right.
And I tell them, what was 95% of this game? Amazing storytelling, incredible combat, fantastic music, and like environments that look great. Obviously aren't the deepest, most complex environments ever, and that's something we could definitely talk about too. But the majority of this game,
how deep does an environment have to be?
Game hit the notes that were impossible to hit like things that were expectations that were so high. So why would suddenly in the next game all that stuff go away?
It's not even that it'll go away. It's just when are we going to get it? Like
We'll just not get answers to.
I don't even know how many
that's
parts this
true.
game is going to be.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be 3 parts. Honestly, I mean,
I think 3 makes sense.
they're already working on it, which is nice to know. And like
Yeah.
they've made
Oh, they didn't even say at this point that it was going to be 3. That's right. Yeah, so it ends up being 3, obviously.
some of the groundwork. I just have faith, much more faith in it now, based off what this actually became.
Yeah.
Like, when I
think
look
that's a fair
back,
point.
when I look back at what Remake was in like 2016, like we were saying, like, well, they just finished writing the scenario, and Nomura didn't even know he was directing. It's just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And like this, like what we got came after that.
Really, in the grand scheme of things, I think this game, like hard development wise,
The whole, like, he didn't know he was developing a thing is really being thrown out there like fucking crazy. Like, it's being massively overstated. Like, they're gonna act like they're 3 years into the life cycle of this game and he didn't know he was directing. Like, no, that's not what happened. Just go research it yourself if you want to know what really happened. I'm not going into
is like creating of like art assets and technical combat mechanics and like the meat and bones was about like 2.5 years. Because right around 2016 they had that mock-up from CyberConnect 2 that was at PlayStation Experience.
Yeah,
that trailer.
2015.
Yeah, and that trailer was like way more than we thought we were going to get because CyberConnect 2 works fast, right? Those guys are gods at pumping stuff out. But then
they do fighting games, right?
And later in development at like the end of 2016 and early, we found that, the scenario isn't even done. Oh God, development has now completely shifted. We're now taking things entirely in-house. And that was like almost 2 years after the announcement. So it was like, what the hell is going on? So theoretically and internally, they had like 2.5 to 3 years actual development time to make this. And just like, actual workflow, like hitting milestones and all that stuff. And if you start thinking about it with like that perspective, I'm like, they did a pretty good job. Like, all things considered, if that was the time frame they had to work with, I'm kind of shocked that they got so much done so fast. And at least me hope for the sequel, because I think the sequel is going to be, we can have a separate conversation about this. I think the sequel is going to be open world a la FF15. I think that's the way you surprise people. And I think they're already like,
not really like FF15 at all. But you would have to know it's going to be open world because that's what happens in the game. Like, that's Midgar's closed world until you get out of Midgar. So yeah, it's going to be obviously
ready to do that.
Damiani is like,
I do not think that at all.
All right. I feel.
I'll say it's possible, Max. It absolutely is within the realm of possibility.
That's crazy, Damiani.
I think the more reasonable approach is that they will probably have. We saw the environments that you traveled in between, like the main sectors here. Like you'd have like these paths. I'm not. They don't necessarily need to be like straight linear corridors, but like there'll be environments. They might be a little bit more open, but like I don't think it's be seamless. I don't even think it would be like MMO size or anything like that.
That's exactly what it is. Seamless and MMO size.
There will probably be like environments that lead you on the path towards your next destination, and it's something you could backtrack through. But like, I don't think they're gonna go for the concept of like a coherent overworld like that. I think that is something. I have an idea for something later on. But with the airship, because people asked about that for later. But like, I just don't see them going 15 direction for the overworld.
You mean I think
it's too much.
10?
It's too much? No. You were wrong.
/12-ish, right?
Like 12, more towards
sort of medium size.
Between 10 and 12, like somewhere split the difference between those two. Like not as like straightforward as 10, but not as like open as 12. I think they'll give you chances to branch though, Max, because to clarify, all the stuff you just talked about, the ending, what
credits due, Max is actually right about this, obviously.
Stuff. I think they just needed to dangle a carrot in front of like veterans saying, you need to like expect the unexpected. Like we can't have you thinking everything's going to literally happen exactly the same way. Yes, 85%.
What's literally happened versus not literally happened? Explain the difference. Go.
this game or 90% of the game was the same with fleshed out stuff that was you were believable. That's what you believe we were just going to do this anyway. But we still need to have some kind of shock value here, and I think that will materialize in parts of part 2 and part 3. But I think for the most part, they're going to still hit the major story beats and locations as is. But like I took it as like some of that messaging was like, hey, we need some freedom because we're not making a giant open overworld because that's
you think she's gonna live.
No, I don't.
You don't?
Absolutely
okay.
do not think that at all.
I
there's
think
definitely the different boats now. Like there's the she's gonna live.
Do you want
boat.
Real quick? I think the whole thing, I think the whole thing is going to be you will have a decision. If you do not let her die, you will ultimately come out to a bad outcome in part 3, whatever, or that will lead to something bad. But in order to maintain like what needs to happen for the planet to be saved, unless you come up with an alternative idea, whatever, I think they might make, because this moment's supposed to happen. It's not like you'll have the feels and the tears.
But do you now?
You still think it's going to happen at the same point. I think the mystique, the mystique about this needs to be it happens differently. It might happen at a different point, and like how it goes down might be different. Yeah, I was even saying because Cloud now knows the future. Maybe he's like Sephiroth doesn't want to do it. You have to do it or something.
You need to talk on Cloud. You're believing Max who doesn't know shit. Cloud doesn't know the future.
Or some crazy shit like that.
At least a twist. That'd
crazy
be
would that be?
Yes.
Compendium. Who thinks that? Who thinks that she has to live? Kyle.
I do.
I don't think she has to live.
Or she's gonna. I'm sorry, she's gonna.
I think it's an if or. I think you will have an option.
I think they want to hurt us by killing someone else.
Okay.
I think they want. I think they want to hurt us again. Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Brad, how do you feel?
Max, I saw you talking about this one point. I'm pretty much with you on this point. I think the game is going to build up this mindset in you going throughout the story that there might be a way to save her, to change the outcome.
Gets it. Brad gets it.
Her death is so important for the story and for the rest of the characters. Okay, big brain. She knows she has to die. She will eventually know she has to die, and it will happen.
Level 3.
But even more crazy.
Brad's on level 3.
Okay, so there's
Sephiroth
relax. From the post-Advent Children Sephiroth.
Sephiroth. Not post-Advent Children Sephiroth. It's just regular Sephiroth at the end of FF7. You don't have. There's nothing referencing Advent Children. There are parts that do reference Advent Children, now I'm remembering. In Rebirth, though. Not in this game. But I don't know if it was Sephiroth I don't know if it was Sephiroth that caused those things. And this isn't level 3, by the way. It's still level 2.
I was thinking maybe there's even current Sephiroth still in the crater going on right now.
It has to.
Oh, absolutely.
So there could be the past Sephiroth and the future Sephiroth. The past Sephiroth could intervene and kill Aerith still somehow.
So here's the thing that I think is like sort of confusing about all.
Sephiroth? No. There's one Sephiroth. Why are we talking about there's two different Sephiroth? There's not.
That Sephiroth still shows up, regardless of him being Advent Children Sephiroth, like a Sephiroth from the future, he still shows up in the same exact ways in Final Fantasy VII Remake as he does in the classic.
Yeah.
He's a vision. He's manifested through clones. Because Sephiroth at this point in the story, and even in the original FF7, is essentially cellular. Anything that's got like Genova cells in him, he can essentially manipulate or just like sort of exist in a not as powerful state. That's like the whole point of Advent Children, is that these stupid 3 kids that are pieces of Sephiroth are not him. And they want to be him, but they're like, the remnants are sad because their mother will never love them as much because they're not Sephiroth.
Right.
So that's like, he's still that.
True.
It's just that it's like Sephiroth got fed this information from the future. It's like Genova knows what's going to happen or found a way to get information from the future and through the live stream. and it's communicated a lot even in the original FF7. I've been reading the original script a whole bunch. That fate is a big talking point about time. When Bugenhagen talks about the life stream, like there's already hints that this stuff is already connected to time, right? That things are constant, that it can't, but the planet is in control of it.
Doesn't that undermine?
When is Bugenhagen talking about time? No. I don't think so. I don't think you're remembering that right.
Your point of Aerith having to die, especially if we're considering a different timeline with Zack.
So
where like you can argue that Aerith needing to die is just as vital as Zack needing to die. Like
yes, I agree. So I'll go in. Do you want me to go into level 3 now?
Yeah,
let's
dive in.
All right. Let's just go to 6. Like, why are we dicking around?
I don't think it goes to 6. I think 4 is like the furthest I've seen somebody take it.
Yeah.
But level 3 I think is actually where it gets pretty interesting.
Okay.
Play through the game a second time and really pay attention to what Aerith says.
Man, she knows
Aerith
everything.
is super aware of what's going on,
Yes.
of what needs to happen. And by the time she's at the end of the game, she's like a different person. She's like a different, completely aware person. She has these moments where they're like, Aerith, and she's sitting there just doing this stuff, literally talking to the planet. It's like she doesn't know what the whispers are at the beginning, but by the time the end of the game happens, she literally touches Red 13 and tells him everything what they are. So throughout the events of Final Fantasy 7
No.
Remake, Aerith is communicating to the planet, and the planet is dishing her information of what is happening, what's going to happen, and she is completely like on board. She's like, all right, well, we got to hit these notes. You can't.
No, it's because she's Cetra that she was able to do that with him. She's communicating to Red, not through the planet. Wrong.
Fall in love with me. I'm going to tell you that this is important. Everything about him is wrong. Everything she says is aware. And the part that I love about it is that we only have 2 characters in this game that actually know what's going on. It's the 2 characters that are connected to
Aerith
the planet
and
the most, Sephiroth and Aerith.
Yes.
And they're essentially trying to undermine each other at this point. It's like Aerith is the one thing that's actually keeping the entire party safe, and Sephiroth is the one thing on the planet that is trying his hardest just to stop them.
So
he doesn't, though. He wants them to continue. Doesn't make any sense. He needs the black materia, and they can get it for him.
I agree, and I kind of disagree, because I do agree that Aerith gets more decisive as the storyline goes along and more aware, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. But there's a difference between the way Aerith is presented and Sephiroth is presented. Sephiroth never shows any ambiguity ever. He's like, I know what is happening, I know what I'm doing. Aerith definitely does.
Same as Max dude. Never shows any ambiguity, acts like he knows everything all the time. Same thing as Hojo. Like, he never acts like there's ever a mistake occurring.
For as many times as she says, like, I know what these things are, I can explain them, I'm talking to the planet, don't fall in love with me, all that stuff does happen. She does have lines where she says, we have to go against destiny. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where this is going to lead us. I don't completely understand. Like, there is some uncertainty there, even very late into the game.
So, and I do, on surface, that's like...
Please just admit when you don't know something. All right, I gotta do something. I'll be right back. Maybe I should just stop the video here. What are we at? At about an hour. Yeah, I wanted to play some more today. Doing chapter 5, I think. But yeah, I think here, I'm gonna pick this up. 55. Yeah, I'll continue on in another part for this series when I feel like it. All right, bye.